What's good, everyone? Welcome back to Straight to Amp. What are we doing here again?
Chit-chatting.
We're chit-chatting.
Music.
This is Straight to Amp, your podcast for music, local artists in Winnipeg and Manitoba. My name is Alex, and I'm here with Rene and Jordan from Proper Operation. How's it going, gentlemen?
We're doing
Excellent.
great.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're so welcome, man.
Yeah,
It's
thanks for having us.
it's the start of a new year. Lots of exciting things happening. We've got a EP out that you're excited about, I can tell.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me a copy. We'll get some music on there as well. What's good? How's it going? Tell me about yourselves.
It's going great. We are Proper Operation. Unfortunately, our drummer Brendan couldn't be here today, but he's the other member of our three-piece rock outlet from Winnipeg and Portage Prairie, Manitoba, and we've been around since September 2017.
A little bit now.
Yeah.
I'm Rene.
Hi, Rene.
I play the guitar in the band. I'm from Portage, so I've been driving out to Winnipeg, making the trip, getting down to business.
So how'd you guys meet then?
We all kind of grew up in Portage Prairie.
Oh, okay.
Going to school and stuff, mutual friends. I started jamming in 2013 myself, actually digging into the music. I've had acoustics around my whole life, but I never had the courage to just pick them up and get through like the hurting of the fingers and stuff and the learning curve. But I started jamming in 2013, and Brendan was a good friend from school, and so I invited him over because I knew he was a drummer, and I had gotten a set of drums, and so I kind of learned from watching him. We invited Rene over because we knew that he, was a musician in town, and we started rocking back in like 2013, and then we didn't do anything as a group for probably 4 years, I guess, and then I'd broken my wrist, and back in 2017 to where I needed surgery, and I couldn't play guitar, but I just bought this sick telly.
Oh,
and
no.
I moved back up to Portage Prairie, so I was making Rene pick it up as we were smoking outside and whatnot, and since I couldn't play it, just randomly started throwing some words out, and that's how our first few songs developed back in 2017, and then it was Rene and I, and we're like, look, these songs are fun. Yeah. These songs are it's a blast to do this. So I was like, well, let's find some dudes and get a band going. And so we ended up getting the dude who was our bassist in on it first. And our drummer now is actually the drummer of our ex-bassist's cover band or whatever. And they'd been jamming for a few years. So
they're super tight,
Yeah.
right out of the
and
hop.
so that's how we ended up getting Brendan in on the project. And then Sheldon left in fall of 2017 because he wanted to go back to school and just didn't really have time to give it his all. So unfortunately we lost him, but we've evolved past not having a bassist. We have the two guitars and the dual vocals going, powerful backbone on the drums, and we make it work.
Yeah.
Rene can tell you a little bit about it, how he has his rig set up since we don't have a bass player.
Yeah.
I am curious because I'm a bass. I grew up on
Okay.
bass.
For sure. I feel like I want to say at first it's just kind of changing how I'm writing the new songs, of course. I've been running through a bass amp as well as a guitar amp, and I have separate overdrives on both amps, but I have a big muff going to both of them because you need the big muff going to both the amps, of course. And yeah, I've just been writing more bassy kind of chuggy kind of stuff. But then I also have a harmonizer pedal, and I'm using it as an octave up. So there's kind of a bassy thing going on, and then you can add that synthy almost space sound too. So
I think I had one of those, or maybe it was Derek that had one. I love that harmonized.
The Boss.
It's so good. That was one of my favorite pedals to at least try. I never owned one though. So it gives you a bit of it gives you that low end, and then you got a bit of a high end to make up for it. And then
exactly.
How do you write for that then? Is it with you kind of target to the low end maybe?
I try it. I like to keep it pretty chuggy on the bottom strings, and I try to do bass fills and stuff in the newer songs. I feel like it's thick enough that it cuts through in that way, but it also I think it's super unique. I don't know.
It definitely plumps up our sound.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know.
Fills the room.
Like, I am very simplistic with my writing, I feel, kind of. And Rene does have some more advanced good lead skills. And so, like, the way that dynamics work together, I don't know, it's something.
So you're establishing that chemistry then. You kind of
For sure.
Yeah, riff off each other at least a little.
Definitely.
Like, I don't know, almost the majority of our songs have come to be from just like plugging in, like, and Brendan will just like sit behind his kit and he'll start playing something, and then Rene starts, and then I'll just like grab my guitar, hop on the mic, and like say something, and then we're like, oh, that's good, and like we'll feel it for a minute, and then we'll just like hit record and just like hit it, and fucking we've developed like at least 5 of our 18 songs that we've written in the last year that way, where it just came off the top of the head, and like you know, you go and you listen to the recording and pull out like what you want, change a couple words.
It's funny, at the end of one of the recordings, Brendan he stopped playing, and right before he hit stop on the phone or whatever, he's like, "What was that?"
He's like, "What song was that?" But like, yeah, there's at least 1 or 2 that have that type of ending on them, where we're just like, was that a song? Like, that just flowed. Like, did we know that?
So you guys record most of your jams then, eh? What do you record with?
Just iPhones. Rene has a little recorder similar to this one. He could tell you about
My
it.
precious Pascal.
We don't use it too often these days. But yeah, mostly just like the voice memo on Apple.
Oh yeah. That's such a good tool to have. When I started jamming with my original band, I was playing bass and drums a little bit with my friend, and we used to use this like our buddy Rob, who helps out with this podcast, had an old XP computer and a little microphone that like was probably the size of a toonie. So we'd take that, huck it in the back corner of the room, because we're a 5-piece at the time, trying to record on something that was probably half as powerful as your iPhone. Mm-hmm. And it actually worked pretty good. It captured almost everything.
Did you throw a blanket on it?
No. No, we're just raw.
Nice.
It's a good way to kind of hear back what your music sounds like, at least to someone else.
It captures like the room sound too, kind of like that whole live vibe, I guess.
Does it influence how you structure your songs after that? Do you listen to what you made and just tweak it after?
Yes, pretty well, yeah. Like, we just break it down and study it, try to structure things, add things in. Like, as we jam it, we'll come up with new parts. You know, they'll just flow. And, yeah, I don't know. Lately, it seems to be the words that are getting written last. Like, in the beginning, like, I'd just, like, have a melody in my head and there wouldn't be music to it, and I'd, like, write a song and then kind of, like, get the riff going and show Rene, and then he'd write a part, and then Sheldon would write a part, and then Brendan would come. But, lately, yeah, like, the music flows, but, the words are always the last piece of the puzzle that are coming into place.
Hey man, all the biggest artists, I know Maynard Kane from Tool does that as well.
Yeah, okay.
But when you're writing, sometimes you just got to take that, whatever piece fits last, and work it in.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be kind of weird to, in my head.
Like, you can't force it, sorry.
No.
Like, you can't force any piece of the process. Like, you don't want to rush anything. Like, you don't want to be too focused on the words and be sacrificing the rest of the picture, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
So what do you think inspired the sound that you made?
That's a tough one. Like, I guess not really a tough one. It's just tough to narrow down because there's such a wide array.
Lots of
things
influences,
I grew up listening to, like, classic rock, like Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, Supertramp, like, of course, like, some AC/DC and stuff. Never anything too heavy, but, like, the real classic rock. That's what my dad fed me growing up. And, like, as I started to develop my own sense in what I appreciated out of music, I got really into hip-hop and, like, in high school and middle school. And then I just, like, ever since age, like, 18, I've just been, like, hard into punk rock and, like, anything fast and angry. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be heavy, but, like, loud guitars and distortion and fucking yelling, like,
Just giving
it just hits me. Oh,
Yeah.
it gets me. Like, I'll fire it up.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
Like, I find that our music is always generally built off the music that we've grown up with, and whenever I wrote, it was always just. I grew up on heavy metal. Well, that came in around high school. My friends found the heavy metal. I just like relished in it, and I found it hard to diversify until it was in my 20s. And I'm like, you know what? There's other stuff out there. Holy crap! So it was limiting in some ways, but it also influenced a lot of what I did.
Definitely.
Yeah, like sorry, go ahead, Renee.
I was just gonna say, for me, like, I grew up playing the fiddle. Like, I started playing the fiddle when I was like 6 years old, and my whole family is like deeply rooted in like old time folky country kind of music. So like until I was probably like 12 or so, that's basically all I listened to was like that folky kind of stuff. But I really feel like the fiddle is like influenced how I play the guitar. I don't know. I feel like I make it sing a little more.
I know nothing about how to play the fiddle.
It's a different one.
Tell me everything.
Well, I don't know. It's difficult.
There's a string. There's a stick with some strings on
Yeah,
it.
it's called a bow. It has horse hairs on it, and you rub tree sap on it, so it grips the strings and causes them to vibrate, I guess. And there's no frets or anything on it. Lots of people think there's frets on it, but it's all fretless. So you really have to know where the notes are and stuff. But it's all in the wrist, man. How you move the bow. Otherwise, you'd be like, yeah. It's a tough one for sure, but.
So you said that kind of influences how you write your music too on the guitar.
Yeah, like for my solos and stuff, because like when I
like the way that he attacks the string.
Yeah, like I don't think of it as a guitar so much as I do just like sometimes, like Jordan was saying, man, I heard saxophones when we were jamming the other day. So
yeah,
I try not to like think of the guitar as solely like a guitar, you know what I mean? Kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Like super versatile, especially with pedals. Love pedals.
They just change everything.
Definitely.
I can hear Derek's ears burning. He's got a giant pedal board, and he's the biggest gearhead ever. Oh, you too?
Me too.
He has so
pointing at
many
himself.
pedals.
I've only spent like 3,200 in pedals this year.
Oh,
Like
wow.
on my pedal board, between the board and the case and
It's like-
what's on it. I think there's 16 pedals on there.
You have like the biggest pedal train you can get, right?
No. I
So far.
was I'd ordered one, and then I saw it. I went to go pick it up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "How am I gonna get this around?" With the tour case, man, like it was like almost as tall as me, and I'm 6'4". It was like maybe a foot shorter, but like it had no wheels. It had no like handles on the sides. It had like one handle in the middle, on the top of it, and it was just like this huge case. It's like this long, this thick. They can't see, but it's massive.
Well, if it's just shorter than you at 6'4", that speaks. And something I definitely don't have the patience for to carry between shows. Do you
Like-
bring everything with you, or?
For shows, yeah. Like my rig consists of my pedal board. You've just been hitting the stage with one guitar lately. Like I don't usually break strings, but that, and then I switch it up between. I have a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe with a Celestion A type. And I recently picked up a Fender DeVille 410 that I've been really liking. And I was switching up between the two of them, but going into this new year, I'm going to be playing like a stereo setup. And I have my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe set up to be more high treble. Like I have the bass scooped down, mids up, and the treble up. And then I have it reverse, mids down, treble down, and bass up on the DeVille. So it's also plumping up the tone and just giving more flavor.
So you're using 2 amps to just fill out your sound a little bit.
Yeah, like I got the 410 DeVille set to be a little bassier, and then I have the Deluxe to be nice and twangy. Like I play a Fender Baja Telecaster. That's my baby, and it's got the S1 switch to. I'm not sure exactly. It switches the. It's got 4 pickup positions. With the S1 switch on, position 1 and 3 get switched from running the pickup series to parallel.
Okay.
I don't know. Someone will know what that means.
Not
Hopefully.
me.
Beyond me.
I
don't even know.
I was infamous for just like I had very specific ways of setting up my old bass amp, and like if you were to put me in front of it now, I just kind of scratch my head. I'm like, oh, bass goes here.
Yeah. I don't know, with all the knobs on all the pedals that I have, like it's definitely been a learning curve, like dialing in desirable tones sometimes. I know, like anyone who's played with a bunch of pedals will know that like it's a fine line between too much effect and like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like, if you slap on too many pedals, like it can sound kind of cool, but it can also start getting a little fucky.
A little farty.
Yeah. I used to mash together on my old bass when I was in one of my first bands, a wah pedal, and I have a multi effect as well, which I still have actually. And just combining those two alone could create some really good sounds, but with bass it's a little more limited, so it wouldn't take very long before everything turned into this like fat farting sound. All right, well, I guess this is what we're doing today. It's either that or add some buzz. What are my options here?
Yeah. Like I don't know, on my board I have tremolo reverb. I have another stereo tremolo, compressor, boost, overdrive, fuzz. This one pedal I have is called a dirt doubler, but it's just like an overdrive essentially. Some chorus, but like I don't know. That's all I fuck with. That's it. Rene, as you were saying, like he's got his harmonizer pedal. He doesn't really dabble with any reverb or anything. He's just like above.
Yeah, Jordan has such a colorful sound that I try and keep it like sort of dry, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
just straight distortion and overdrive. Filthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and chuggy, man.
Yeah, I like to bring in like the bright
Space sounds,
yeah,
swirls,
that kind of stuff. Like
kind of like the like really like galaxy tones, and well,
like nothing too spacey, but like I definitely like to chuck some like high decay reverb in there to keep the like I like ambience and whatnot. I definitely appreciate that. It's something that I utilize.
That's cool.
Is ambient tones, like nothing too far out, definitely, because like we do like we say that we play like indie grunge punk music, but like we're kind of stepping away from having like being spread across, like stating that we're spread across all these genres, and we're just kind of trying to push for like the alt rock title.
Yeah.
Because like that's basically what we're doing. Like alternative rock kind of covers all those genres, which we have like which are parts of our sound. So instead of being like we're grunge, indie punk, garage rock,
90s.
this that band, we're going for this too. Like we're doing all rock, man.
It's so much easier that way.
Definitely.
I could start an all-day tangent about how much I hate how genres are dealt with
subgenres,
subgenres. Did you ever watch that movie, that documentary from the early 2000s? It was Metalhead that went around and interviewed.
Oh, I know what you're
blanking on the name of it. He had two documentaries. One was mainly focused on just like Western music, and then the second one he went across the world. Headbanger's Journey.
Yes.
Okay, thank God I remember that. I would kill that.
I'm personally not familiar. Excuse me, but yeah.
I was a Canadian anthropologist. He grew up on heavy metal and just went around just like talking about those, meeting all these artists and talking about like just heavy metal and like the influence it has. Part of what he did on that first documentary is he charted out all these subgenres and how these bands like connected them together, and it just made my head spin. I'm like, what is the point of this?
It's hard to keep track.
And
too much.
And I find that everyone just has their own slight variance on what a certain subgenre means. So
yeah, well, like you know what, like everybody interprets like what they hear and what they consume differently.
Exactly.
So like I don't know.
It can be such a testy conversation, so I tend to just
There's too
avoid
many ways to
genres
music,
altogether. That's not alt rock grunge slash. I'm like, no, just stop.
Just let me bang.
I'm gonna call it rock. I'm gonna call it rock/country, and you're gonna accept it now.
Deal with it.
It's not appealing.
So let's talk about your demo. What was it called? Life is Hard. Your first demo, you released it just last year. I got a copy of it. Thank you very much. So,
Welcome.
when did you start recording it? Tell me about that.
We started in April or May of 2017,
That sounds about right. Yeah.
and we did it all ourselves. We just rented an interface from Long and McQuaid and like the
Shout
vocal
out.
mics. Yeah, shout out to Long and McQuaid. Those guys are super dope. Rented the equipment, did it ourselves. Our drummer Brendan just used Logic on his iMac.
Yeah.
And we started it off. What started first? Like drum tracks for the three
Well,
songs
it's
we were
actually
gonna do?
funny because me, Jordan, and our old bassist, we were thinking we were gonna go in there and record like scratch tracks so Brendan could play along, and we have it all set up so Brendan can come in and we sit down and we record the scratch tracks. Then we get into the studio and Brendan's just like, "Why is this all in here?" We're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the scratch tracks, man." He's like, No. And he just sat down and busted out all his tracks right there. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah, so we got the drum tracks done for the 3 songs that were going to be on the demo, and then things kind of came to a halt. We were waiting to finish up 1 or 2 guitar tracks on 1 or 2 of the songs, and we just couldn't really get the time to couldn't find the time to get together between the 4 schedules, and so we ended up finishing recording in August, I think.
Yeah.
Late
Early-
August or early September, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, Rene.
I think
but,
that's about right.
Yeah. We got back to it, and we once again rented equipment, set shit up at Hannah's parents' place out in the country in the basement, and finished up vocals and stuff. We just hung blankets from the ceilings, from the tiles, and did our best. It was my first time personally ever recording any music at all. Brendan has recorded his own drum demos and stuff for YouTube and whatnot. Rene has recorded before, but it was something new for me, and being the vocalist on all the tracks. It was kind of frustrating trying to bang out vocals at 2 a.m. when I was running off no sleep and whatnot, just trying to get it done so we could get the equipment back on time. But yeah, so we ended up finishing it up in late August, early September.
Yeah.
And then we sent it off to Brad Moggy, or Moogie.
Brad Moggy. Shout out Brad Moggy.
Yeah, shout out to Brad Moggy. And he mixed up the tracks for us and mastered them and sent them back to us. And then we released it November 3rd, I believe is the official release date online.
Oh, nice.
But so recorded throughout half the year of 2017 and then released in November. The original plan, it got really pushed back. We were wanting to have it ready for July at the latest. It was supposed to be June, and then
Hey, life happens.
yeah. Well, that's kind of why we decided with the Life is Hard, just because it was such a struggle being I don't know, millennials who are just trying to scrape together some cash and put something out there that people can listen to between shows. It definitely was a challenge to get the time off, get the money together, learning the software ourselves to record, placement of mics and stuff to get everything.
There's a lot of
sounding
troubleshooting, that's for sure.
Oh,
But it was a blast. What a sweet experience.
Oh yeah, it's so fun.
there's such a huge learning curve with it, eh? Even with all the tools and toys we have access to.
Tutorials on
Just,
YouTube.
yeah, it's still quite. I find it to be overwhelming at times to know it's
Definitely.
okay. Which
So
mic should I
many
be using?
options.
There's so much to learn, but just being able to take what you have, make it work to get something out there, and crossing that first milestone can always just get better.
Totally. I just want to touch on the fact that this demo it was recorded. We just multi-tracked it, as Rene was saying. We were going to do scratch tracks. Brendan just hit it, and then we did bass, and then guitars and vocals was the order of the recording, and then so we were trying to go for as much as a live sound as we kind of could. We just recorded guitars mono. We didn't do stereo or anything. It was our first time, so we didn't really know that would be a nice thing to have on there. But next time, I guess we have recordings booked for the 13th, this next Sunday at the University of Manitoba with David Dobbs.
Oh,
we're
nice.
really
And
looking forward to
we're going to
that.
do 4 tracks live off the floor that we'll have to release in the next couple months.
That's awesome.
So we're super excited about that. Yeah, we won't touch on what songs we're playing and stuff. You guys will have to wait and see what
It's gonna
comes
be
out.
awesome though.
Keep me in suspense.
Yeah.
So what was one of the bigger lessons you learned just recording getting this first EP out?
One of the biggest lessons learned through the recording process, or like getting it out to the
From
friends and
concept
consumers
to the shelves, for the next band coming through that wants to record their first EP.
Rene.
Jordan's like, I didn't learn anything.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't have an excuse.
If you want to do it yourself, like YouTube tutorials are great.
Agreed.
Like, they are lifesavers, honestly. But other than that, just like
What did it cost us to rent the equipment and whatnot? Like we already had the drum mics. We have our drum mics, so we didn't have to rent those. But like, I was
$100 at
I was
max.
afraid of what it was going to cost and what we were going to sink into the project. But like, I'm pretty sure we like recorded everything, got it mixed and mastered, got it on a disc for like $400 or so, like $450 maybe. Or was it a little more? I'm a terrible
I would say that's
salesperson.
probably
Okay,
about right.
what I'm trying to say though is don't let the price and like the effort that it's going to take stop you. Like get out, make your music, record your music, and like
Share it with the
do your
world.
thing. Yeah. Don't let anything stop you.
Also,
Chase it.
practice really hard before you go
Yes.
to the studio.
Oh my God.
Don't waste time.
Yeah.
Rehearse. If you think you're ready, rehearse some more.
Definitely.
Know your parts. Do your homework, kids.
Yeah.
Can't be underprepared in there. Or overprepared, I guess.
So you mentioned you're gonna do some live recordings in the next little while there. What else do you have planned for 2019?
We have our first show booked. It's going to be at the Cavern, February 9th, with Forest Pilots and Zero Frames, 2 kick-ass local bands. We haven't played with Forest Pilots yet, so it'll be a first. We're super stoked for that.
Yeah.
Zero Frames, we played with our very first Winnipeg show back in April 2017, so it'll be really fun to reunite with them on the forefront of 2019.
Nice.
Or sorry, not in 2017, 2018, April 2018. But it'll be really dope to play with them again. They're like nerdy, like Weezer rock type vibes. Super cool dudes.
I love Weezer.
Yeah.
Weezer's dope.
Tell me about your first show. That just kind of tricked me into one of the questions I wanted to ask.
Our very
earlier.
first show was actually a house show that we
Oh,
did
yeah.
in Portage Prairie.
Okay.
Decided to invite some friends and family down and show them what we've been slaving away at. And it was great. We probably had 30 people show up.
Yeah, like 35 to
You think so?
40, I
Yeah.
think. It
Okay.
was pretty rocking in there, man.
No, it was dope. But we had pretty well, we only had 4 covers on the set maybe, and the rest was original music. We played 45 minutes, and this was 2 or 3 months after forming the band. So
Yeah, we were
it-
writing like
wow.
crazy that
yeah,
summer.
we were right out of the gate, and I don't know, it was fun. It was very comfortable to be at my house and whatnot,
In
in
front
front
of
of friends and
people we
family
know.
instead of a bunch of strangers. So it wasn't very nerve-wracking and stuff. It was just a great experience overall. I think everybody had a wonderful night.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Have you played? Where have you played within the city?
Within the city, we've played Mr. Bones and it's Bulldog Pizza now.
now,
It's changed names a couple times. Sweet Pizza Place up on Main Street. If you don't know about it, 1364 Main Street. They got a 6-stage setup. They got sweet lights. Sound guy there, Greg Dornwick.
Dornick?
Yeah. Greg's awesome.
He's awesome,
Killer
yeah.
sound guy. We've played there, and we've played the Cavern so far. We have another show in the works for the end of March that we can't really discuss. We can say it's going to be a proper operation, Confucian and guests.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we don't want to release the venue yet or the
Fair
other
enough.
band.
That's
So,
awesome.
but
It's
yeah,
hype,
we're
though.
extremely excited for that. Shout out to Confucia.
Love Confucia.
Yeah, joy to play with. We've done 2 shows with Confucia in the last year. One in Portage Prairie. They came out to our hometown at the time, Portage Prairie, and came and played the bar with us and Bad Pants when they were still
yeah.
around. That was actually our first ever venue show or whatever, like, you know, playing on an actual stage in front of a audience.
Is it as exhilarating as expected?
You know,
It was
what?
wild, man.
It was insane. Being a new musician and never like having that experience before, to have Bad Pants and Confucia opening for us for our first show, it was just like
Pretty
super
surreal,
surreal.
yeah.
Yeah.
I miss the just the live show experience, being on the stage and getting ready. It's so much stuff mentally to prepare for, all the practicing, organizing,
It gets a little
coordination,
nutty sometimes.
and then it's over.
Yeah,
You're done.
so quick. Yeah. No, man. Wow, I don't even know how to elaborate on that because I just have so many thoughts popping into my head about like from previous preparations towards getting up on stage. Like, there's so much going through your mind. You're like,
But once you're on stage, like,
it just rolls.
It just goes.
Yeah,
Right?
there's nothing on your mind, but
the chaos forms a single line and enters the room.
There's so much that can go wrong getting ready for a show. I find there's so much stress and things that happen, and ultimately one of the first lessons I had to learn was,
Showing up with
just roll with it.
you got to roll with the punches, and once you can just kind of get past that mental hurdle, I find the rest of it's just enjoyable. Shit happens.
So true. Yeah, like
A couple beers doesn't hurt either.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, every show, like, I have so many pedals. Like, I step on the wrong pedal at least like once a show, and like, you know.
So how
Doing
many
the tap
pedals do you
dance.
bring per show?
Well,
All
like,
of 'em.
Yeah, I have 16 on my board. Like, they don't come
man.
off. They just travel with me.
Oh, fair
Yeah,
enough.
they're all coming.
I have like 8, so like half.
I
as much
honestly
as-
use all of them throughout a set. Like, I find ways to utilize them, and I don't know. It surprises me a little bit. Like, it's kind of weird sitting down with the guitar without pedals.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like I'm so used to like this exuberant array of tones that I can get, and then like I sit down with an acoustic. It's just like, you know,
It's a little different, but
you
it's
don't got the chorus and the all that modulation and stuff. But yeah, I guess that's the roots of what I'm doing. Like, so many people just plug straight to the amp.
yeah.
And
that's where the
I
name came
guess
from.
I'm guessing not one of them, but that's definitely something to be valued. Is like people who can do a set without all the effects and shit, and like it's in the music opposed to like in the tone and in the
Yeah.
I think that's something that comes with a lot of just experience as a musician, is being able to work with what you have in the moment. If a pedal breaks, or if a guitar breaks, or doesn't sound right, or your amp crashes, you have to use someone else's. You're just, you can either be like a deer in the headlights, or you can be like, oh well, this is what I'm working with, let's see how this goes. And some of the best I've seen, amazing musicians just completely fall apart on stage because they broke a string. I'm like, you got this, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's all in
Rene
the head,
breaks a
right?
string like fucking every second show at least.
Oh man.
I get into it.
Like there was this
Dig right in
there was
there,
this
man.
weekend a month back, and like we were rehearsing in this one song, Buzzin', that we play. Every time he went into the solo, like probably 5 takes in a row, he broke a string. And like I cannot believe it. Like by the end of the night, he was using one of my
I was
guitars. And,
I was absolutely terrified of that song for the next like month playing it live.
Yeah.
So like, please don't happen right now. It didn't, thankfully.
Oh man. No kidding.
But even when it does, man, like I don't know.
do you just bring 2 guitars with you now?
Yeah, I try to bring at least 2 guitars to a show with me, but I try to just play the set with 1 guitar if I can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like when we started off, I used to bring 2 or 3 guitars to a show, and like I'd like have certain songs planned. Well, because like the guitars are your tools, like they're your tone tools, and so like I was like, okay, this guitar, this song was written on it, or it sounds better on this than this one with these pickups and all that. So like for a while, I was hauling around 3 guitars to a gig, and I don't know.
It's a lot after a while.
I don't anymore, long story short.
You're preaching to the choir, man. When it came to me being in bands, I'm the laziest motherfucker you can meet. I don't want to bring a bunch of gear. I used to play drums.
That's why I have my pedal board, I guess. It's like I got my tones
fair.
on there. I don't need to bring 3 guitars and all this.
That's true.
I used to
I like
bring
to
like
keep it
14 pieces of a drum kit with me and like all the bells and whistles. I'm like, this is enough of this. I slowly stripped it away after every show. I'm like, well, let's see how much I can get away with on this set here today.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's totally possible. Like you watch some drummers and they're just hi-hats, kick, and snare, and like they're just going.
Gotta appreciate that.
Crazy, man.
There's a time for the full range kit, and there's a time where it's like, you know,
The
if you're playing.
Young kit.
Yeah. I brought my giant kit to a house party once, and that was probably more than I needed to say the
Nervous
least.
laughter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the homeowners appreciated that at their Christmas party.
Definitely.
Yeah, speaking of house shows, we just had a kick-ass house show on the 29th.
Oh yeah.
I just moved back to the city December 1st
Oh, nice.
in Fort Garry, so we had a little housewarming party / early New Year's get together, potluck thing. But Death Trip, they're a 3-piece instrumental like psychedelic blues stoner
Oh, cool.
rock band. They came out and rocked out with us in my basement, and I don't know, it was kick-ass.
Yeah, they rocked the house.
I got fucking lit. As soon as
Jordan
I
was
off stage.
beyond lit.
Yeah, but yeah, nothing but a great time house shows. That's why
Before,
we pick it up
do you get lit before or after you played?
after the set.
Well, very wise.
Yeah, I had the
Played with
wise
too many
enough to
people
wait.
that like to party a little too hard before you start the set.
Once again, that was a habit kind of in the beginning. Like I calmed my nerves a little too much, and since like even April of last year, like I like to try to stay sober besides a little bit of weed before my sets,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I'm free to indulge afterwards. But like
Yeah.
when you hit go, you're on go.
You
Sometimes
gotta
Be
with
on
me.
point.
You got to be on.
Yeah.
Just to wrap this up, thank you again for coming. Before we go, who should we be listening to? Do you have any local Manitoba bands? Who do you like? Who should everyone be checking out?
Chico Confucia for sure.
Confucia.
Let's throw some.
Any songs in particular?
Their whole album. What's it called? Ashtray.
Moderation?
Quit in Moderation. Yeah, their whole album is dope. Yeah, it's Quit in Moderation. Listen to the whole thing.
All right.
Having such once again, there's so many amazing bands in this city and artists, solo artists.
We were just singing along to
super
some.
groups.
Yeah.
Like
We were singing along to Easy Trance before we came
yeah,
here.
you know what? Easy Trance, like are they from Winnipeg?
I
don't
think
know
they're
where
from Winnipeg.
They're all over the place. They're down in California, here, and then they're in Vancouver, back in Manitoba. But Easy Trance is super dope. Feel free to check that out. It's really funky. I saw the Love Tongues for the first time a couple weeks back. They're pretty sick. Saw them do like a Christmas party set
Oh, nice.
at the Cavern, and it was rocking. Shout out to those guys. Mobina Galore is a staple
Oh, yeah.
in Winnipeg. Like, come on, here, they're flowing now. We got the Rippers. But like, I don't know.
Sleepless just went on tour.
Yes, Sleepless is from Portage Prairie in Winnipeg, and they just got booked a 4-month tour
Yeah.
across Canada. So they were supposed to play this Cavern show with us in February, and then they got offered this sweet deal of a lifetime and went and hit the road. So like,
Gotta do it.
all the best to Sleepless on their 2019 tour. Have fun, boys. If you're listening.
Rocket.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming down. It was a pleasure
Thank
to
you,
meet
Alex.
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Cheers.
man.
All right, we'll see you very soon in 2019. Big year ahead.
Yeah, sounds great. Once again, our first show of the year is coming up February 9th. It's a Saturday at the Cavern with Zero Frames and Forest Pilots. It's going to be sick.
Bring your friends.
Doors at 9, music at 10. $10 to get in. Music till like 1:30. Can't go wrong.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Thank you everyone for listening in. We'll see you next time.
I know Show you're stronger than them. Don't be weak. One last thing to say, so here it is. I don't wanna know. Let me fall asleep. I just wanna go. Set my mind free. I don't wanna know. Let me fall asleep. I just wanna go. Set my mind free. People will watch, people will stare. They will always follow like sheep at bear. Straight from the back end, just be yourself. One last thing to say, so here it is.